Hey there, my name is Chris Acton with Acton Creative, and this is a Handwoven Experience, episode 92. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about summer and winter. So if you aren't familiar with this type of pattern, summer and winter got its name from back in the olden days when you're making a coverlet. This is your bed all year round. With this pattern, you can make it have distinctly two different sides. So you see everywhere that I have a dark section here, on the opposite it is light. So you can weave the pattern such that you have two very different sides. So when it's winter, you have the dark side up, and when it's summer, you have the light side up. Thus the name of the pattern, summer and winter. And I like to think of this pattern as being a cousin to Overshot. An easier cousin, by the way. I'll just throw that out there. And here are some of the similarities between those two kind of distinctly different patterns. First of all, summer and winter, like Overshot, demands two shuttles, right? You have one that is for the background, that's going to be tabby, plain weave, and you have the other shuttle that is going to be your pattern. And this yarn should be about twice the size of this one, just to make sure that it's going to float above the fabric and really create a prominent pattern. Pattern, background, two shuttles, just like Overshot. Also like Overshot, you are going to make sure you have two floating selvages, one on each end. Because of the way the pattern is, you want to make sure that you have something at the edges of your fabric to catch those weft yarns. So floating selvages come in very handy. Now, the big difference between the two is when you get to threading your heddles. I find that this pattern is much easier to thread than Overshot. Mostly because with summer and winter, and I'm referring to on a 4-shaft loom, you're going to have two different sequences in your heddles. And each sequence is going to create two different design elements. So you're going to have 4 total different design elements. Whereas with Overshot, you could have a lot more than that. But this one keeps it nice and simple, creating this beautiful geometric pattern. Now, one thing to kind of keep in mind is that with a 4-shaft loom, typically then you'll have 6 treadles down below, and you'll have 2 treadles reserved for your plain weave or tabby, and then the other 4 coincide with each of your 4 design elements for the fabric. So how about we do a little bit, and I'll show you what that looks like to weave a little bit of summer and winter. All right, so I like to always lead with the background just because it's just for consistency's sake. Let's see, start here. I'm going to send that over. It's just plain weave. That's all I'm doing here. And then I am going to do a variation of summer and winter. By the way, total sidebar. I am doing my setup referring to Ann Dixon's book, which I love her book. She has a great section on summer and winter, and she talks about how you can have different variations of summer and winter that are called bricks, pairs, and columns. And that refers to how you use your 4 different design elements in the fabric. So if you have a chance, check that out. It's a lot of fun to kind of play with the different options. Okay, so here's where my pattern comes in. I'm going to send this across just like this. And I'm going to do a little bit of the kind of brick version, which, if you can imagine, kind of stacks up like bricks. You have one element like this, and the next one kind of comes like this, just like bricks do. It's aptly named. Okay, so I'm going to, again, lead with the background. This is the other part of plain weave. And this is the pattern coming through like this. I'm going to do 2 more just so you can see it. So, same as kind of a rinse and repeat, right? Come back through just like this. And what's so fun is that with summer and winter, you don't have that kind of intense treadling to keep up with like you would with Overshot. It's just all around an easier pattern. So certainly if you think you want to try some Overshot, I highly recommend that you give summer and winter a chance first, because it's a nice way to ease into it. All right, so I just did a little of the kind of brick variation, and I'll show you a little close-up right there so you can see what we just did. So there's all kinds of options with summer and winter, and like I said, it's easier to dress the loom. It's easier to manage the treadling in summer winter than it is Overshot. But don't let that fool you that it's the lesser sister to Overshot, because it's not. There's so many fun things that you can do with summer and winter, and it's just an all-around fun pattern. If you haven't tried it yet, I highly recommend you put that on your list, on your wish list of weaving patterns to try in the near future, because I think you'll really enjoy it. All right, friends, give some thought to some summer and winter in your life in the near future. Have a great week. Happy weaving.